I am proud to introduce one of our honorees tonight, Maryland Senator Jill P. Carter. Senator Carter represents thousands of people in Maryland's 41st legislative district, but an amazing number of her constituents know her personally because she cares deeply about the people and communities she represents. The real relationships that she forms with people across District 41 clearly informs the way she advocates in Baltimore and in Annapolis for change to improve their lives. When her constituents struggle to make their voices heard about the challenges they face, whether that is lead poisoning or police violence, Senator Carter listens and amplifies their voice in the halls of power. And she's not afraid to be a leader on issues that are controversial or contentious. Her steadfast dedication to justice, accountability, and equity makes her a model legislator and a person I am honored to present with a 2022 Heschel Vision Award.
My name is Walter Lomax. I'm the Executive Director for the Maryland Restorative Justice Initiative. And I met Senator Carter while in Annapolis on our legislative initiative.
I first met Jill my very first day of law school.
Senator Carter's work on police accountability, in many ways, has been a signature part of her legislative career. And that's something that myself, as a policy director for LBS, I've worked on with her for many years, going back to when she was in the House of Delegates.
Her dad was a huge and big time civil rights activist and proponent in prior years, prior to his death in 1971. And she seems to have taken on that mantle to ensure that those persons in the community who may not have the resources to better themselves at least have a chance with regard to the legislation that she proposes to better themselves.
Legislators who consistently prioritize constituents with the least power and those who are the most vulnerable are rare. And Senator Carter is that rare legislator.
So Senator Carter obviously represents thousands of people, but I'm always amazed by how many people in her district know her personally, because she really does care about people. She's known as the people's champ. And people have reached out to her with issues in their community, in their neighborhood, on their block, and she's always been very responsive. She gives out her cell phone number to people left and right, I think. And I'm not sure how she keeps up with them so well, but she takes that body of knowledge that she gains from the people in her district and really advocates for positive change on a deeply emotional, personal level. You can tell that she's just deeply aligned with the folks who are in her community.
She puts people before politics, for one, because she speaks truth to power, and that's not always easy to do. Power doesn't always want to hear the truth, but she's brave and she does speak the truth. And I've seen that be enormously successful in her career.
She went to visit folks who were behind the walls in prison and to talk with them, just, them talking about things that they're experiencing and her talking about the work that she's doing to address the societal forces that put a lot of folks, behind the walls. And so seeing her, during her reelection campaign, and these are people who, especially at the time, they couldn't vote for, right? So it wasn't like she was going for votes. She was going because, that was the just thing to do, that they represent the least of these in our society.
I remember when she first started talking about, with unbelievable passion and zeal, the effects of lead-based paint on young minds and young bodies in Baltimore City. And I remember feeling like that was something that everyone else knew about, but nobody spoke about as loudly and as passionately as she did.
There was a period of time when the expungement of records was prominent as an issue in Baltimore City. And she would actually be at the sites herself, speaking with those who wanted their records petitioned for expungement, and actually help the people fill out the forms, make sure they're filed, and things of that nature. She's an attorney also, so she has some expertise in that regard.
her success probably has come because of her honesty, right? And her commitment, not only to her constituents, but for people all over the state. And, just to give an example, is that the two pieces of legislation that she helped champion for us, which was the Walter Lomax Act, the compensation legislation, and the parole reform legislation. She takes the approaches that she understands the issue, and she understands not only what her constituents want, but really what's best for the state overall. I don't think that she's all that stuck up on or hung up on being a delegate or a senator. I think that she's more concerned about making significant and substantive changes in her community and in the state.
In 2021, you can't really credibly move police accountability legislation without her weighing in. And so it's actually been great. And I actually joke with her these days where I say to her, you have a certain gravitas now that people back then wouldn't have wanted her to have, but she survived the political hits to be instrumental on police accountability. And while her and I weren't 100% happy with what happened in 2021 on police accountability, it's the furthest the legislature's ever gone on it. And it wouldn't have gotten nearly as far as it's gotten without Senator Carter being who she is, and without the credibility that she stored up over the years and being that, kind of signature figure.
I actually think that Senator Carter, for me, seems very aligned with what I consider to be very Jewish values of acting on behalf of the most vulnerable. She has consistently spoken up for young people who, of course, are not voters, and people from among the most marginalized communities very passionately. And I think that's what really sets her apart. She's very much, it's almost funny to think about her as a politician, because in a lot of ways, she's the opposite of a typical politician. She does not pander to anyone. She does what is right, but she believes to be right. And she stands up for what she believes in a way that few politicians I've ever met do.
I think this is a huge validation that people see her work, and that there is appreciation for her work, and that there is appreciation for her sometimes standing alone on an issue, but standing on the right side of an issue.
Other people see Senator Carter the way that I see her, and that is, a civil rights warrior. And she has emulated the things that I read about Rabbi Heschel, and her feet have been praying since I've known her.
I know that we call you the people's champion when we're not in a formal setting. I call you Jill, right? I used to call you delegate, and I used to call you senator, right? But to me, you'll always be Jill, and you'll always be, I would have to say, my namesake's daughter, Walter Carter, right? I don't know, I wasn't named after him, but I'm very honored to at least have the same name that he had, right? And I know that he would be very, very proud of you. And so congratulations again.
I think the appropriate word for you and the operative word in the award is vision. You have been a visionary for quite some time. You continue to be a visionary, and you continue to advocate for the people of this community, which essentially advocates for the people of this state and the people of this country.
Really huge congratulations to Senator Carter. I think this award couldn't go to a better person.
I'm so thrilled that we are able to honor you in this way, Senator Carter. Thank you so much for all of your work and championship on behalf of the people of Maryland.
I'm very thankful to Jews United for Justice for choosing me for this amazing award in honor of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. The Heschel Vision Award is something I never could have fathomed. So often we do the work, we don't expect a reward, and often, as many of you know that are out there in the trenches every day, you know that it's often sometimes feels like thankless work. And so I'm grateful to be the recipient, but even more so, I'm grateful for the work of Jews United for Justice, truly carrying out the legacy of Rabbi Heschel in blending Judaism with social justice. So often we have worked together over the years, and as I reflect on our beginning relationship, I can remember that time probably around 2015 or 16, seeing Molly Amster almost passed out in the hallway in the House of Delegates, having sat there for hours and hours. It was probably about 11 o'clock at night, and our bills on police reform had still not been heard. And so it's that type of dedication and commitment that I've come to depend on and rely on. And it's also that kind of dedication that often makes all of us feel like we're not alone. The allies that we formed with each other and the partnership is something that has made a tremendous difference in legislative advocacy in Annapolis. In the last number of years, we worked on police accountability, expanding civilian oversight, the Child Protection, Interrogation Protection Act, juvenile justice reform generally, housing justice, environmental justice. And we've accomplished a lot together. And I look forward to what we're going to accomplish over the next several years. And so I can't say enough about how much your work is needed here. I can't say enough about how much coalition building with Jews United for Justice and other advocates has forced Annapolis to be better. And I look forward to the future that we have, pushing the envelope as hard as we can. Thank you.